Charles Oliveira says he will drop down to 145 pounds to challenge Alexander Volkanovski for the featherweight title in Australia.
Dana White said the winner of this will fight Alexander Volkanovski. Do you have any interest in going to Australia to fight him, or do you hope you could maybe fight in January in Brazil?
O Dana White falou que o vencedor dessa luta provavelmente lutaria contra o Volkanovski. Você tem interesse em ir para a Austrália lutar contra ele, ou a ideia é que, beleza, você ganha aqui, a luta com o Volkanovski é no Brasil em janeiro?
Olha, na realidade tudo vai depender de como vai se tornar essa luta pra gente ver o que vai fazer. Mas o meu time é lutar aqui, lutar no Brasil. E aí, como o Volkanovski quer, vamos fazer acontecer. Mas vamos fazer de duas formas. Vamos fazer a primeira no Brasil, de 70 quilos, e em novembro de 66.
So, first of all, we're going to focus on what's going to happen here on this fight particularly. But my timing is to actually fight in Brazil afterwards, regardless. If we're going to make this happen with Charles against Volkanovski, we're going to have it two ways. We're going to fight at 70, and then we're going to fight at 66 at the end of the year. So we're going to fight in two weight divisions by the
Tem a
year.
data da luta da Austrália?
What is the exact? It's in February, right? É em fevereiro a luta na Austrália. As for the specific date for the Australia.
Eu posso lutar lá também em fevereiro, mas pelo cinturão dele.
I can fight there in February, but for his belt.
So you want to go back to 145?
Quer voltar para 145, então?
Sim. Não, na 66.
No, but so you said one but he was 66, so 145. I won 66.
You feel you can make that weight?
Yeah. Você consegue chegar na 66?
Com certeza, eu tenho uma equipe gigantesca para isso.
Surely, I mean, I have a great team for this, to actually get down to 66.
Here's Alexander Volkanovski's response to Charles Oliveira's challenge.
Charles Oliveira comes to media day yesterday and he says he wants to fight you in January in Brazil for the 155 belt and then 145 belt February in Australia. What do you think of this?
Mate, let's do it. You know what I mean? Like, if anyone could do it, it's me. You know what I mean? If he thinks he can get that done, let's do it. For me, yeah, obviously I don't know if it makes too much sense, but I'm down. Yeah. I'm down for whatever.
It takes some convincing with the UFC, I'm sure, because they have to promote the events. Like, that's the tricky part, right?
Anything can happen, right? So yeah, I don't know if that can even happen, but if they're happy to do it, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah,
simple as that.
And Islam said too, you know, he would come fight you in Australia in February. So it seems like it's shaping up nicely for you.
It seems like my next fight would definitely be the lightweight title. So that's that's why I put myself in this position. So let's see what happens.
Here's another video of Alexander Volkanovski meets Islam Makhachev at UFC 280 in Abu Dhabi.
Good. Oh, nice. Thrown out. If I pick some kind of way.
10 a.m. This is the natural.
They're probably like, why are you cutting? They're like, we're not missing weight. Why are you cutting weight for? That's what they'll be thinking. Yeah.
Here's a video of Aljamain Sterling running into his former opponent Petr Yan at UFC 280.
Come on, man, don't do that to me. I work hard, man. Don't do that to me. Good.
In an interview, TJ Dillashaw talks about his EPO use.
Obviously, the drugs ban from being self-inflicted. I want to get into the mentality of why, because a lot of people will look at you and see an elite level mixed martial artist. Why take those steps?
To be myself, you know. I was a shell of a man of who I was, you know, supposed to be the baddest man on the planet, drop into a weight class that my body physically wouldn't let me do, full-blown anemic, 6-8 weeks out before the fight, not wanting to wake up, not wanting to train, not feeling like I could live up to the biggest fight of my life, you know. So I took an anemia medication that I knew I couldn't, but I knew that it would get me back to where I was, you know, the fight that I wanted.
You knew the consequences, though, of what could happen.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of fessed up to all that, right? I've kind of manned up to the whole situation that, like, I knew going into it that I wasn't supposed to be doing it, but, you know, I I was chasing something that was like, you know, gonna line my pockets forever. It was gonna cement some more legacy, just something that my body wouldn't let me do, but my mind wanted to. Just my ego, I guess you'd say, right? Just my ego of like, I'm the best. I'm gonna get this done, you know.
When do you become at peace with it? The decision that you made, because speaking to you right now, you've got to a point of being at peace with that, because it's you that's got to look at yourself in the mirror and be at peace with that. So when is that point?
I think that's why I came out with it so fast, right? And I came and admitted to everything right away before it was even announced, because the fact I wanted to get it behind me as soon as possible. I knew it was going to be a process no matter what. I knew the ridicule was going to come with it, but that was the easiest way for me to get it behind me. Was just, it's like going to a therapist and just letting it all out, you know? So I'd say 6 months, maybe a little bit longer, around 6 months, especially because I went through double shoulder surgery, you know, hyped up on pain meds and sitting on the couch and not being able to do It's a recipe for
I'll speak at this first from a fan's point of view, where obviously you're not daft. People will obviously message you on social media. It's a vile place to be at times. People will cast doubt now on what the fantastic things that you've achieved in the UFC. How do you process that, given what's happened over the last couple of years?
I guess it's a benefit that I'm not a guy that's on social media all the time, that I'm not like tuned into that stuff. I've never been that way. I've kind of had to force myself to do it to help promote myself. So it's pretty easy to shut that out that way. And just the fact that, you know, I was one of the most drug tested athletes in the UFC, you know, and it just put some logic behind it all. When I just forgot how to cheat and got caught, you know what I mean? If I was cheating all those years, I just decided to not do it the same way. And then the fact that they went back and retested all my samples from all the way back to 2016 put me under a microscope and showed the world that none of those other fights had anything in it, you know? So.
And then from the fighter point of view, what have you made of, obviously, Aljamain this week? I mean, we've just spoken to him recently, and he says, I can't be sure that he's not. What do you make of that?
I've seen that, right? I've been asked that a few times in an interview now that he's saying that. I think it's just him creating excuses, being scared of the fight, knowing that the man standing across from him's got a great chance of knocking his ass out, and it's just an excuse to why he lost. That he didn't lose to a clean athlete, but I can guarantee you that I am.
Ben Askren tells the story of how he realized he got knocked out by Jorge Masvidal in their fight at UFC 239.
Do you remember the whole night against Masvidal? Like, do you remember everything?
Not the fight.
You have no.
I talk about this in the book.
Yeah, well, you know.
I don't know. I no. My first recollection. My first recollection there was this is hilarious. I sit up and I see Luke Rockhold. I'm like, fuck, that's Luke Rockhold. That means I'm in the hospital.
Oh.
That's what I thought. Because I knew he got knocked out by Jan Blachowicz. And I sit up and I'm like, what's Luke Rockhold doing here?
Wow.
Fuck, I'm in the hospital. And then I looked and I said, my wife was over here, and I was telling my wife, I'm like, what happened? And she's like, it wasn't good. And, I'm not sweaty. Like, I can feel like I'm not sweaty at all, you know. I'm not sore. I didn't hurt at all, you know. So it was like, I must not have been in like a hard fight or nothing. Like, I kind of knew that.
When does the memory end that day?
I'm staring at George getting ready to fight.
Okay, and you remember everything up until that point? Like that's
I'm getting ready to fight, and then boom.
Tony Ferguson responds to Khabib Nurmagomedov saying he's only fighting for money.
It's Tony time, bitches!